Today's revelations may not add to the evidence, but certainly add to the intrigue. Her chilling prediction reads, "This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous. Someone, the name blacked out, is planning an accident in my car, brake failure and serious head injuries."
This is from Diana, in her own words, 10 months before she died.
The world was left in shock when Princess Diana's final words about Elton John were revealed. For years, the public adored their relationship, often seeing them as the ultimate power duo, inseparable friends who shared laughs, heartfelt moments, and a deep connection. Their bond was celebrated, with fans viewing them as a perfect example of celebrity friendships that transcended the spotlight. But when Diana spoke out in her last moments, it became clear that the true nature of their relationship was far more complicated than anyone realized. What could have led Princess Diana, a woman renowned for her grace and kindness, to finally break her silence on Elton John? What hidden truths had she carried with her all those years, only to expose them in her final days? As Diana's confessions came to light, the public's perception of her relationship with the legendary singer was forever altered. The image of the inseparable pair began to crack, and the details Diana shared painted a picture of emotional distance, unspoken resentments, and a growing disillusionment that had festered over time. Princess Diana had always been a figure of empathy, someone who would speak out on behalf of those who needed a voice. But her last words about Elton John were not filled with the usual compassion she displayed throughout her life. Instead, they were filled with raw honesty, exposing the emotional toll that their friendship had taken on her. Diana's revelations weren't just about Elton John's behavior. They were about the deep emotional undercurrents that were at play between the two of them. Her vulnerability, in this rare moment of confession, brought to light the very real challenges that came with their friendship, challenges that were carefully hidden from the public eye. What was it about Elton John that Diana felt needed to be addressed only at the end of her life? Was it the pressures of fame that strained their relationship, or were there deeper, personal issues at play? Diana's confession suggested that, over time, the public personas they had crafted, two friends who seemed to share everything, were only an illusion. Beneath the public admiration and shared performances, the cracks in their friendship were starting to show, but it wasn't until Diana's final moments that the truth would come to light. The revelations surrounding Diana's words left everyone questioning the true nature of the connection between the two superstars. Diana's public image was one of openness, but her words about Elton John forced the world to reconsider the private battles that shaped her life. The story of their relationship was no longer about the joyful moments shared in the public eye, but rather the complex emotional truths that had been hidden behind the scenes. Diana's final confession shed light on the emotional turmoil that she had experienced, leaving us to wonder if the friendship that seemed so perfect was, in fact, just a carefully curated performance for the public. This new understanding forces us to look at both Diana and Elton John through a completely different lens. Behind closed doors. For decades, Princess Diana and Elton John were portrayed as the ultimate celebrity best friends. Their public appearances were filled with laughter, joy, and a deep sense of camaraderie, leading the world to believe that their bond was unshakable. From charity events to personal moments shared in front of cameras, it seemed like they were the perfect pair. But Diana's final words tell a different story, one that challenges everything we thought we knew about their friendship. Diana's last moments were filled with honesty and vulnerability, exposing the rift that had slowly developed between her and Elton John. Despite the public displays of affection and the media's portrayal of them as inseparable, Diana felt a growing disillusionment with their relationship. What had caused this shift? What led to the breakdown of what appeared to be a flawless friendship? Diana's revelations are not just about a brief falling out. They delve deep into the emotional complexities that played out behind closed doors, far from the watchful eyes of the media. As Elton John's fame soared to new heights, Diana found herself struggling with the growing distance between them. The reality of their friendship was far more complicated than the world had imagined. In her final days, Diana spoke candidly about the emotional toll that came with being close to someone whose life was under constant scrutiny. While she once admired Elton's talent and cherished their shared experiences, the pressures of fame, the public's expectations, and the emotional disconnect that grew between them had taken their toll. Diana's words exposed the painful reality of their relationship, a truth that had remained hidden for years. What was it that made Diana feel so disillusioned with Elton John, despite their years of friendship? Was it his rising celebrity status that caused the divide, or were there deeper, more personal issues that had been buried for years? Diana's final comments shed light on the hidden struggles that neither of them had been willing to address. As we explore the complex emotional dynamics of their relationship, we are forced to reconsider the narrative of their friendship that had been carefully crafted for the public. Diana's honesty forces us to question the very foundation of their bond, revealing that even the closest of friends can have deeply unresolved issues. As we dive into the truth behind Diana's words, we learn that her disillusionment with Elton John was not just about the superficial aspects of their relationship, but about the emotional and personal toll of being in the public eye. Their friendship, once seen as the epitome of loyalty and camaraderie, was now exposed as a much more fragile connection, strained by the realities of fame, jealousy, and unmet emotional needs. Diana's final revelations leave us with a deeper understanding of who she was and what she experienced in her private life. The question now becomes, can we ever truly know the people we admire when we only see their public personas? Diana's words challenge our perceptions and offer a glimpse into the emotional world of a woman who carried more than just the weight of her title. She carried the weight of hidden truths that were only revealed in her final moments. Betrayal and disillusionment. Princess Diana's final words, shared in the privacy of her final moments, were not just a lament about betrayal. They were a painful admission of disillusionment, one that left an emotional scar far deeper than anyone could have imagined. For years, Diana had been a steadfast supporter of Elton John, standing by him in both public and private, sharing intimate moments that revealed a deep, seemingly unbreakable bond. But in her last moments, the truth emerged. A truth that not only shocked the world, but left Diana herself heartbroken and disillusioned. What happened to the seemingly flawless friendship between Diana and Elton? Diana, a woman known for her resilience and forgiving nature, had been there for Elton during some of the toughest moments of his career and personal life. She had offered him a support system, her heart open to his struggles. Yet in the end, she felt abandoned, left to grapple with her own emotional turmoil without the one friend who she thought would stand by her side no matter what. In her final confession, Diana admitted the betrayal she felt, a betrayal that shook her to her core and left her questioning everything she thought she knew about their friendship. Diana's heartache wasn't rooted in a singular event. It was a cumulative feeling of neglect, isolation, and emotional abandonment. As her life became a whirlwind of media scrutiny, personal challenges, and public obligations, Diana needed friends she could trust. Friends who would offer her the same unwavering loyalty she had always extended to others. Elton John, however, appeared to be distracted by his own growing fame and the pressures that came with it. Where once their bond had been solid, the strains of living in the limelight seemed to take their toll on their relationship. Diana's emotional confession wasn't about what Elton John had specifically done. It was about how his actions, or lack thereof, made her feel. She carried this pain in silence, even though the public perceived their relationship as one of unbreakable friendship. Elton's failure to support her during the most crucial moments of her life left Diana feeling alone and exposed. The emotional distance that had developed between them wasn't just about the superficial aspects of their friendship. It was about the deeper, more personal struggles that neither could reconcile. As we dive into the raw emotions behind Diana's words, we start to understand the full extent of her disappointment and disillusionment. It was the culmination of years of feeling unappreciated and sidelined by a friend who, while famous for his public displays of affection, failed to provide the emotional intimacy and support that Diana had once believed she would receive. Diana's confession stands as a reminder of the complex nature of fame and the way it can distort even the most genuine relationships. How Elton John reacted to Diana's shocking final words. As Princess Diana's final confessions about Elton John became public, the world was left hanging on the question, how would Elton John respond? For years, Elton had been seen as Diana's best friend, the person who could always be relied upon through the ups and downs of their extraordinary lives. Their shared moments, filled with laughter, music, and love, had painted a picture of a perfect friendship, one that fans and the media believed to be a symbol of unwavering loyalty and connection. But Diana's final words had exposed a different side of that bond, leaving Elton in the difficult position of either defending himself or allowing the rumors to take their course. When the news of Diana's confession broke, there was an air of suspense surrounding Elton's response. How could he possibly address such a bombshell revelation about his once beloved friend? Was he aware of the emotional toll their relationship had taken on Diana, or was this confession something that completely blindsided him? Elton John, known for his public candor, had always been open about his emotions. But how could he process and respond to such an intimate and painful betrayal being aired so publicly? The speculation about his reaction was immediate, and many fans waited to hear what he would say to defend the legacy of his relationship with Diana. Elton's silence in the aftermath only added to the tension. The lack of a public response left many to wonder whether he was reflecting on Diana's words or simply choosing to remain quiet in the face of a difficult situation. Some assumed that he would deny any wrongdoing or defend their friendship, while others believed that his silence spoke volumes about the emotional complexity of their relationship. Elton had always been vocal about his personal relationships. So why, in this case, was he choosing not to speak out? Was it out of respect for Diana? Or was it a sign of guilt, knowing that her words about their friendship were valid? As the weeks passed, Elton's quiet response created even more speculation. Many wondered if he was dealing with feelings of guilt or regret, realizing too late the emotional distance that had developed between them. His silence, instead of offering comfort, allowed the public to fill in the blanks with their own assumptions, casting doubts on what had been a legendary friendship. The public began to ask whether Elton truly understood the pain Diana had felt, or whether his own fame and busy schedule had clouded his ability to truly support her. When Elton finally did address the situation, his response was a mixture of sorrow and regret. He expressed deep remorse for not being more present for Diana during her toughest moments. He acknowledged the emotional distance that had developed between them, and admitted that he, too, had felt the strain of balancing fame with personal relationships. Elton's heartfelt statement, while offering some clarity, did little to fully repair the damage done. Diana's confession had already changed the public's perception of their relationship, and no amount of words could undo the truth she had revealed. The fallout from Diana's final words was more than just a personal revelation. It was a public reckoning that forced both Elton John and the world to confront the complexities of relationships shaped by fame. The friendship that had once been seen as the epitome of loyalty and love was now forever altered, and Elton's response only served to highlight the emotional divide that had existed between the two stars. What had once been a shining example of public friendship now stood as a cautionary tale of the emotional costs of fame, leaving both Elton and Diana's legacies forever intertwined in a new and more complicated light. The pressure of fame. The intense glare of the spotlight has often proven to be a double-edged sword for many public figures. For Princess Diana and Elton John, their friendship, once viewed as a symbol of perfect harmony, was ultimately affected by the very fame that had brought them together. The public adored their bond, two of the most famous figures in the world, laughing together, enjoying each other's company, and supporting one another through tumultuous personal and professional moments. However, behind the smiles and grand public gestures, the pressure of being under constant scrutiny began to take its toll. Diana's final confession sheds light on how the fame they had once embraced became the very force that drove them apart. Fame had always been a double-edged sword for Diana, a woman who captured the hearts of millions yet was burdened by the weight of her status. As the world watched her every move, her relationship with Elton John initially appeared to be a picture-perfect friendship. Yet, as Diana's final words make painfully clear, the reality of their bond was much more complicated than it appeared. With fame came heightened expectations, and for both Diana and Elton, the pressure to maintain their public personas became overwhelming. What was once a shared space for mutual support and understanding became tainted by the emotional and personal costs of being constantly in the spotlight. Elton John, like Diana, was no stranger to the demands of fame. His career, marked by chart-topping hits and constant public appearances, placed a heavy burden on his personal life. Initially, their shared fame seemed to offer a kind of solace, a space where two public figures could relate to each other's struggles. However, as the years went on, the cracks in their friendship began to show. Both Diana and Elton found themselves trapped by their public images, unable to escape the pressures of being constantly under the media's watchful eye. What began as a genuine, heartfelt connection was overshadowed by the overwhelming demands of maintaining an image of perfection. Diana's final confession exposes how the intense scrutiny and expectations surrounding their friendship led to emotional distance. While both of them thrived professionally, their personal lives began to suffer. In her last words, Diana spoke of the difficulty of truly connecting with Elton in private, when the eyes of the world were always on them. The public wanted to see two icons laughing, supporting each other, and sharing tender moments. But behind the scenes, the emotional toll was far greater. The pressure to live up to the world's expectations created an invisible barrier between them, preventing them from ever truly letting their guard down and connecting on a deeper, more personal level. In Diana's eyes, the fame that had originally bonded them eventually drove a wedge between them. It was no longer just about enjoying each other's company and supporting one another. It became a performance, a curated image that they both had to maintain. What was once a friendship based on shared experiences and mutual understanding became something else entirely, shaped by the unrelenting demands of being public figures. The emotional cost of this public life left both of them feeling isolated, even though they were constantly surrounded by admirers and fans. The music and the hurt. The bond between Princess Diana and Elton John was not just a personal one. It was also a professional relationship shaped by mutual respect for each other's artistry. They shared a love for music, and over the years, their collaboration became a defining aspect of both of their careers. For fans, their professional connection symbolized a rare intersection between fame, friendship, and creativity. However, behind the music and the public appearances, there were personal struggles that began to seep into their work, complicating their partnership in ways that no one could have anticipated. In her final moments, Diana's words shed light on how their personal struggles, stemming from their complicated relationship, began to affect their professional collaboration. Diana and Elton John, despite their mutual admiration for each other's talent, found that the emotional barriers they faced in their personal lives made it harder to truly connect on a professional level. What was once a dynamic partnership rooted in shared artistic passion now carried the weight of their unresolved issues and unspoken hurt. This emotional distance, coupled with the pressures of their public personas, led to a subtle shift in their work together. Diana's final confession reveals that their music, which had once been a source of joy and unity for both of them, was now a reflection of the tension in their personal lives. Despite their shared love for creating music and their collaborative projects, their emotional struggles began to influence their professional relationship. The music that had once brought them together now became a reminder of the unaddressed issues in their friendship. Their shared love of music, which had seemed like a natural extension of their bond, was now tainted by the complexities of their personal lives. This shift in their professional relationship was not something that the public was privy to. From the outside, their musical collaborations still appeared seamless, their public appearances still filled with laughter and camaraderie. However, Diana's final words suggest that beneath the surface, their shared musical pursuits became more strained. The emotional hurt that had been building up over the years infiltrated their music, making it harder for them to truly connect through their work. Despite the public's adoration of their music, the reality of their partnership was much more complicated. What the world saw as a perfect friendship had been overshadowed by the unspoken challenges they faced privately, and these struggles had a direct impact on their professional dynamic. What caused Diana and Elton John to drift apart? The friendship between Princess Diana and Elton John was once considered one of the most iconic and admired relationships in the public eye. For years, they seemed inseparable, a duo that was both a symbol of shared success and mutual support. Yet, as Diana's final words make painfully clear, their once unbreakable bond slowly deteriorated over time, ultimately leading to their final separation. This wasn't a dramatic, sudden break, but rather a gradual drifting apart that neither of them could prevent. Diana's revelations shed light on the growing emotional distance between them, and in this chapter, we will uncover the subtle shifts and underlying issues that caused the rift between these two once close friends. It's important to recognize that the distance between Diana and Elton didn't happen overnight. In fact, it was the result of years of emotional strain, unspoken frustrations, and changing personal circumstances. As Diana's confession reveals, the pressures of living in the public eye, coupled with the demands of their respective personal and professional lives, had begun to take a toll on their friendship. Initially, their connection had been built on a mutual understanding of what it meant to live under constant scrutiny. Diana and Elton shared experiences that few others could understand: the weight of fame, the personal sacrifices, and the loneliness that often came with it. They had been there for each other in times of personal turmoil, supporting each other through public and private battles. However, as time passed, these shared experiences began to feel more like burdens than bonds. Diana's final confession suggests that one of the key factors contributing to their drifting apart was the change in their personal dynamics. As Elton John's career continued to soar, so did his fame and public image. He became one of the world's most recognizable figures, with a massive fan base, and his life became increasingly consumed by the demands of his work and public appearances. Diana, too, had her own struggles and personal challenges. The overwhelming pressures of her royal duties, her troubled marriage to Prince Charles, and the media's constant intrusion into her private life made it increasingly difficult for her to maintain a genuine connection with those closest to her. Despite their mutual understanding of these struggles, the emotional toll of living in the spotlight created a silent rift between them. Elton John, despite his outward charm and charisma, had his own set of emotional complexities. Diana's words indicate that, over time, Elton became more distant and wrapped up in his own world. The very things that had once made their bond so special, their shared sense of humor, their ability to confide in each other, and their mutual support, became strained as their individual lives began to take on a different trajectory. For Diana, this emotional distance was particularly painful. She had always relied on Elton for his understanding and friendship, but as he became more absorbed in his personal and professional life, she felt increasingly isolated. Diana's vulnerability during her final moments allowed her to admit that she had been let down by someone she considered a close confidant, and this realization weighed heavily on her. The public perception. For decades, Elton John has been one of the most beloved figures in the public eye. Known for his iconic music, flamboyant personality, and philanthropic work, Elton has long been admired for his contributions to both the music industry and social causes. His close friendship with Princess Diana only added to his charm, as the two were seen as a perfect example of a loving, supportive bond between two of the world's most famous figures. However, Diana's final words about Elton John have cast a shadow over his legacy, forcing the public to reassess the true nature of their relationship and, by extension, how they view Elton John as a whole. Diana's confession has shifted the public's perception of their friendship from one of unconditional support and camaraderie to a more complicated and emotionally charged narrative. For years, fans viewed Elton and Diana as the ultimate power duo, a friendship that exemplified the ideal balance between fame and personal connection. Their public appearances, full of shared laughs and heartfelt exchanges, made them seem like the best of friends. Yet, Diana's final words exposed the cracks beneath the surface. The emotional distance she felt from Elton in her final years, coupled with her sense of betrayal, has made it clear that their relationship was far from perfect. For Elton John, this revelation presents a significant challenge to his public image. Throughout his career, he has cultivated an image of openness, generosity, and genuine affection for his friends and fans. His legacy as an artist and humanitarian has been built on the foundation of being an authentic, approachable figure. However, Diana's final words suggest that, behind the scenes, Elton's actions may have been less than supportive, particularly when Diana needed him the most. The emotional hurt Diana felt, the sense of abandonment she carried with her, forces the public to reconsider the kind of friend Elton John truly was, and whether his persona as a caring, loyal companion was as genuine as it appeared. As we reflect on Princess Diana's final words and the shocking revelations about her friendship with Elton John, it's clear that even the most iconic relationships are far more complex than they may appear. Diana's confession has reshaped the way we view these two beloved figures, reminding us that the pressures of fame and the human experience often create unexpected rifts. What do you think of Diana's final revelations? How has your perspective on Elton John and his friendship with Diana changed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more compelling stories like this.